This is Bill Stewart, and in this video I'm going to show you how to install XWiki on the Windows operating system. The one prerequisite that you will need to complete the installation is a text editor that can edit Unix format text files that have line terminators. My suggested option for that is Notepad++, which I have installed here. But you can use any text editor of your choice that can edit Unix format text files. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is go ahead and create the database for XWiki. You can find the instructions for your specific database on xwiki.org. In my last video I showed how to install Postgresql using SSPI login for Windows so that there's not a password required. Rather, it uses the credentials of the current user. So what I'm going to do is create that database. I'm going to launch pgadmin as my database. Right-click there, run as different user. I'm going to launch pgadmin as my database user. pgadmin uses the web browser as its user interface, so I'm going to go ahead and connect to my database. There's no password. I'm already authenticated. You'll see that it allows me to connect here. So I'm going to right-click and use my query tool, and I'm going to open the existing file that I've already got saved for creating the database. And again, you can find the SQL query that I've got here. I got this from the XWiki website, create database XWiki with owner equals my current username, and we can hit the F5 key or we can click the execute button here to run that query. Okay, so that query completed. We'll refresh our database list here and run one more query to make sure that that user has the required schema rights. So I'm going to right-click the XWiki database, go to Query Tool, open my second query that I've got here to grant permissions to the schema. This query is also shown on the XWiki website. Grant all on schema public to XWiki DB owner. This is for PostgreSQL, so we'll hit the execute button to run that query, and that query is completed. So now I have created the database in our first step here. So the next step is to go to java.com and download the Java runtime. So what you're going to want to do there is free Java download and see all Java downloads. Now in this case, I've got Windows Offline 64-bit is the version that we want here. I've already got that file downloaded. I'm going to, it's already in my downloads folder here. I've already got the latest version downloaded here. So all we need to do is run to install that. And yes, we'll continue. Click to install and OK. And we'll wait while the Java package installs, the Java runtime environment that is. XWiki requires JRE version 8, so version 9 or 10 are not going to work correctly and not tested with XWiki, so make sure you get the JRE version 8. Whichever the latest version of JRE 8 is, that's the one you want. Okay, so Java installed successfully. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go to tomcat.apache.org and grab the, you can close the Java tab here, tomcat.apache.org and download the latest Tomcat 9 install for Windows. We'll click on that link and then we'll go to 9.0.12. The package that you're going to want is the 32-bit 64-bit Windows Service installer. And I've already got that downloaded in my downloads folder here. So I'm going to go ahead and click to run that. Yes, run as administrator. Next. Agree. I'm going to select the full install option. Make sure we've got everything to install. I'm going to change the service name to just Tomcat and create shortcuts for all users here. It already detected the Java runtime, which we just installed. And I'm going to shorten the install directory name to just Tomcat to ease navigation. Don't need such a long directory name there. Then install. We'll let this complete. Okay, I'm going to deselect Run Apache and Show README and finish. Our next step here is we need to change the permissions for the directory, the Tomcat installation directory, so that the service account, that is the database owner account, has permission to write there, and also my current user, so I can update files in there. So I'm going to go to my file browser and go to Program Files and Tomcat and right-click that folder, that directory name there, Properties, go to Security tab, hit the Edit button, add my current account, and OK, give it modify permission, and now the service account. Okay, and give it modify permission as well, and then hit OK. OK again, and now the directory permissions are updated. Now we want to configure the Tomcat service, so we're going to go to our program list and click Configure Tomcat. Click on Yes. I'm going to shorten the display name of the service here to just Apache Tomcat, and I'm going to log on as my service account. XWiki DB owner. Okay, and on the Java tab, we need to make sure we give at least 1 GB of memory to the Tomcat service. So I'm going to hit 1024 in both of those, and OK. So now we've configured the Tomcat service. Now the next step that we need to do is we actually need to set the service principal name for the database account, the service account. I'm going to open my PowerShell window here. And to view the current service principal names, we do set spn-l XWiki DB owner. That shows that there's currently 1 service principal name. We did this earlier to allow SSPI logon for our Postgresql database. So to allow this for the Tomcat service, I'm going to do set spn-a slash and the fully qualified domain name of the server. Now we've registered that service principal name. We'll view it again, just make sure that it's there, and we can see that it is now registered as the service principal name also. Exit from PowerShell. Next thing we need is the PostgreSQL Jdbc driver, jdbc.postgresql.org. Go to that and download. And 42.2.5, which I've already downloaded here. So what we want to do is we want to actually copy that file, and we're going to copy it to Program Files Tomcat lib. We're actually going to paste it into that directory there. And we've copied that file. Wrong program there. The next piece that we want to grab is the Waffle Libraries. This is required for SSPI logon PostgreSQL in XWiki. So I'm going to go to github.com/waffle/waffle. And just scroll down here and get the Waffle download. Download Waffle, current version is 1.9.0, which I already have downloaded. in my downloads folder. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and extract this archive because we need some files from inside it. I don't need show extracted files when complete, and I can just extract into the downloads directory directly. Go ahead and extract this archive and we'll see the files that we need in here. So there's some files that we need from this archive. The first thing we want to do is go into the bin folder and grab the Waffle Tomcat 9. I'm going to right click and copy this, and I'm going to go down and paste it into the lib folder. Make sure I got it there, and there it is. The next thing that we want to do is we want to go down into our Waffle and samples and expand the negotiate copy of the sample folder. So I'm going to actually need to rename this file with a .zip because a war file is just a .zip file. So we're going to rename that file to a .zip so we can extract it. And I'm going to hit extract all, and we can just take the .war off of there. That'll work fine for the extraction folder. We'll go into the negotiate folder, and we'll go into web-inf and lib, and we're going to copy this set of files here. Copy. Go down to program files Tomcat lib and paste here. And we've got the Waffle Libraries installed now. Okay, I can close this. Now, we've installed both the Jdbc and the Waffle jar files into program files tomcat.lib, so this step is completed. The next step is actually to grab the XWiki war file install. So we go to xwiki.org, and right on the front page you'll see a button to download. So we'll hit download there. Current version is 10.9, latest release. Go to the download button. And the one we want is war package for servlet container. That's the part we're using. So download. And you don't have to enter your email address if you don't want to. You can just hit skip this form, and it will actually download the war file onto your computer, which I have already downloaded here. So in order to install this, the first step that we need to do is we need to go to C program files, Tomcat web apps, and we need to create a folder for XWiki. So I'm going to do new folder, create it here. We need to get the path of this folder, so I'm just going to click in the address bar right here, right click and do a copy so that I have the exact path to extract it to. Go to my downloads folder. I'm going to rename this with, hit F2, rename it with .zip. You don't need that warning there. Right click and extract all, and I'm actually going to paste in the folder there and hit extract, and we'll let that process complete. Okay, now that the war file is extracted, we need to actually configure the hibernate.cfg.xml file. So we're going to go to program files, Tomcat, web apps, XWiki, web-inf. Here's the hibernate.cfg.xml file that we need to change to specify how to connect to our database. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a copy of that file and make a backup of it. And I'm going to open this file in Notepad++. So what we want to do here is we actually want to comment out the default database. So to do that, I'm just going to move this. I'm going to highlight that line, Control X, scroll past the end, Control V, and now we've commented out in between the XML comment tags here and here, we've commented out the default database. We'll scroll down to the configuration for PostgresQL, and you can see that's currently commented out, so I'm going to Control X cut that comment line, paste it back up here, and now we have uncommented the PostgresQL configuration. Now, because we're using SSPI logon and Waffle, there's one thing we need to add to the connection.url setting. Put in question mark gSSlib equals auto. This is documented in the PostgreSQL Jdbc driver documentation. And because we're not using a password at this point, we can comment out the username and password properties of the file. So I'm going to go ahead and comment those two lines out as so. Now we're going to save that file. The one last configuration step that we need for XWiki is to create what XWiki calls a permanent directory. This is a directory on the server, the Tomcat application server, where XWiki can store cache files and different things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually go to the program data directory, and we're going to create a folder for that, XWiki. And we need to give the service account permission to write to that folder. So I'm going to right click it, say properties, go to security, and add XWiki DB owner, and give it write permission to that folder, and OK. Now we go back to program files and Tomcat, web apps, XWiki, web-inf. The file that we need to specify the permanent directory in is xwiki.properties. So I'm going to make a backup copy of that file, and I'll paste it back in the same folder so we have a copy, and open it in Notepad++. We're going to hit Control F and search for permanent directory. Okay, we found the line here. So what we need to do is uncomment this line and specify the location. And this is going to be in Windows format with forward slashes. So we say C:/program data/XWiki as so, and save. Now, at this point, we are actually ready to start the Tomcat service. So we can go to our Services applet in Windows. And we can actually find the Apache Tomcat service here and click Start to start the service. Now it's going to be probably a minute or two before that service is completely started up. So what I'm actually going to do is open my Windows PowerShell, and we can take a look at the Catalina log file that XWiki generates, or rather the Tomcat application server generates when it runs. So we're going to go to Program Files and Tomcat. And logs. And if we take a look at this Catalina log file here, I'm going to copy and paste that file name. We can take a look at that file and see as it's running, and we will see a line appear in this log down at the bottom once the program files directory, Tomcat web apps XWiki, it will have a line that says has finished deploying in some amount of milliseconds. So we'll wait for that line to appear, and that way we will know that the Tomcat service has finished initializing. So I'm going to pause the video for a minute while we wait for that. Okay, so we can see that the server startup completed. And now we're ready to actually open the XWiki application. I'm going to hit Control-C and cancel that log file tail there. What we're going to do is open up the browser. HTTP, not S, just HTTP, localhost, :8080. That's so we can see that Tomcat's running there. We actually need to attach XWiki to that. We know Tomcat's running, but we want to go to XWiki, which is the subdirectory. As so. And XWiki will initialize. So we'll give that a minute. And depending on how fast your machine is, how much memory the Tomcat server has available to it, etc., it may take a little bit of time for the XWiki application to initialize for the first time because it has to create the database tables and do all of its initial setup the first time that you run it. So this virtual machine that I'm running is not super fast, so it does take it a couple minutes. Okay, now the XWiki install is completed, and it displays the distribution wizard, which is the very first page that you see after you install. From this point, you continue. You create your root administrative user, the main administrative user for XWiki, and you continue from there. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully this is helpful to you to install XWiki on Windows.